Hey guys, I want to welcome you to Ace Networker, and I want to talk about a topic that I've been asked about a lot over the years. I've been asked about a lot more since I've started this website online and since I've started putting these videos up on YouTube. The question is, what's more important? When I'm going into the IT field, especially when I'm going into networking, what's the most important thing that I need to get? Is it certifications? Do I just need certifications? Is it an education like a continuing education like college level education, or further like do I need my PhD? What do I need? Or is it just experience that they look at to get me into a job or career that's going to pay me a lot of money and allow me to be a part of networking the way I really aspire to be? And if that's where you stand right now, I'm here to answer this question for you. We're going to make it really simple. All three are important, but you don't necessarily need all three at the same time. And here's what I mean by that. I'm going to give you a little bit of my backstory to kind of give you an idea of how you can go about doing it. It doesn't have to be this way. You don't have to follow this path. Some people follow an entirely different path than this. And I've seen people follow multiple different paths and end up in the same place, or kind of the same equivalency of a career or job. So here's what I did. I used to be in another completely different field other than IT before I got into IT many moons ago, many years ago. I started out by getting my A+ certification. I went and studied for that. And as soon as I got that, I went and studied for Network Plus. And then I started to work on CCNA. As much as I could possibly learn about CCNA, as much as I could. So that's what I did. What this did, I did not have the education yet. I didn't have the IT experience yet. I was in a completely different field. So I want you to think about these three areas in your IT career, in your IT advancement, kind of like three legs of a stool. You really can't have a stool that's sturdy, and you can't have an IT career that's sturdy without having all three. So I recommend all three, and as much as you can advance in all of these. You're not going to be able to get too many IT jobs with just one of these and not the other. So it's extremely important that you kind of understand how they go hand in hand and how you can kind of balance out your career advancement and your experience, your own advancement in the IT career field by kind of bouncing off all three of these and kind of building on all three of these as you go. But so here's what I did. I took the path of, I got my A+ certification and my Network Plus certification. Okay? Didn't take long. I got a job in desktop support. Let me write this down here. I got a job in desktop support because I had some work experience and I also had some certifications that I could go on. I had built a few PCs on my own, so I kind of worked that in to get some experience to get into a desktop support role. And that's where I got my IT experience in the very initial stages of it. So I had some certifications. I was working on more certifications. I was going for CCNA, and as soon as I got that, I was going for CCNP. And I was just going to advance up in my certifications all the while I was working on this. After I got this desktop support role, it was a Monday through Friday. It was a regular schedule, not like the job and career that I had, where I never had a regular schedule and I couldn't do anything else outside of that. I got desktop support, which was basically Monday through Friday, or it was 5 days a week, and I would still get 2 days off. But in most cases, and working with managers, your supervisors at the time, I was able to convince them that I needed to go to school to get a degree in IT. How does that work? Well, since I had my evenings off, I went to a technical school. I'm just going to write technical school here. You can go back to a college. I'd highly recommend that. It's going to take a lot of commitment on your part. And that's what I want to talk about today. Don't think of any of these as isolated as being able to completely get you into a network admin position or a network engineering position like I eventually achieved. Don't look at them as getting you into a data center or anything higher up. Now, I have seen people that have very few certifications no higher education, just a high school diploma, but they have worked their way up in nothing but experience. And that is possible. It's going to take you longer if you just go one route or the other, especially if you just rely on certifications, because in the IT field, these have to balance each other out. Most IT people that are experienced and that are looking for good qualified people want them to have a plethora of experience in all three areas. They want you to have some higher education that's IT focused. It doesn't even have to be networking, but I would recommend that, especially if you're going into the networking field like we're talking about on Ace Networker. It doesn't have to be just certifications. You can get into some good jobs and positions and get some certifications, which would give you more experience. But that's what I did. I got a 2-year degree to start with at a technical college, which was an associate's degree. And in the United States, we call it an associate's degree. I'm not sure what they call it in other countries. It might be a different term, but it was a 2-year degree. And from there, I decided that I was going to build on each one of these as I went. And that's exactly what I did. So, again, to start out, you can start out going to college, taking higher education courses in IT. I've seen people do that. In the process, I've seen them get their certifications through some of the technical colleges or higher level universities. That happens a lot. I've seen IT related courses and layouts now, degree programs, at some of these higher level institutions that give you the equivalency of passing these certification tests as you go. So in other words, as you learn A+ stuff, you would go and take your A+ test, and that is part of the course, or courses that you took for PC and laptop, understanding PCs, laptops, tablets, that type of thing. A Network Plus, you would get that as soon as you started in some entry-level courses in networking. And you would get your certifications at the same time you're getting your education, which would give you something to really back up your own resume to get a qualified job and start getting experience. But again, remember that each of these kind of leverages off the other in the IT field. This is unlike a lot of different fields. It's unlike nursing or the medical field. It's unlike studying law. It's unlike just about any field that you encounter out there. In the IT field, this is what you're going to run across. So just remember that these three things right here are none more important than the other two. And if you keep that in mind, I'd highly recommend you go my route. Start studying for some of these lower end entry-level certifications. Get those under your belt and go from there. Those will help you get into something of an IT type job. And that might afford you the ability to start getting some higher education courses or even go to school full-time in the evenings like I did. Entirely up to you, but hope that answers the question for you and hope that kind of clarifies what of these are more important, because I get asked this question quite a bit. Which one is the most important? Do they look at certifications? Do they look at experience? Do they look at education? So that should answer the question for you. Even those out. Start with one, use it to leverage up to another, and from there, build on all three as you go. And I promise you, you're going to be a highly electable, highly employable candidate in most any of the civilized countries. But the more of all three of these you have, the better off you are.